What's going on, everybody? Rails Rants Reloaded. Coming back after a holiday break. Ain't been recording, been doing the family thing. I apologize, but once again, it's on. What we're going to talk about, we're going to get right back into the swing of things. Today's episode: stop blaming the Matrix for the reasons that you are not getting women. It's too many groups, Facebook and YouTube, Instagram, this, that, and the third, that are blaming the Matrix on your results for the way women are treating you, the way you are being received by women. It is time to take personal responsibility for the things that you get and the things that you are not getting. At the end of the day, you have brothers like Charles Tyler, rest in peace, that spewed a matrix mindset on African American women in the United States. You have to understand what some of what he said is true, what some of what he said doesn't apply for everybody, and that goes for other people that carry on his legacy of talking about matrix mindset and stuff like that. At the end of the day, brothers, it's time for us to take personal accountability on the things you want. You have dudes out here that are giving you one-sided information like, okay, all the African American women in the United States aren't worth a damn. But then when you get your passport and you go to these third world countries and you think you're the man, this you're having this light of, well, you're being fed the content on the internet and on like Facebook and YouTube that if you go to another country, women are going to like you. Look, it's like this all over the world. Money is power. The more money you have, the more respect you have. And if you're a grown ass man, you gotta use your money the right way. You get look, if you're a lame in the streets, if you're a lame in the States, you're gonna be the lame in another country. This is what they're not telling you. You have certain Facebook groups and organizations that are giving you this facade of certain things and not telling you the whole truth. The game abroad is just like the game in the States. The only difference is there is an abundance of wealth and jobs for the opposite sex to get and maintain on top of marriage and divorce, alimony, child support, this, that, and the third. At the end of the day, a lot of brothers are really sounding like scorned little girls. Not all of them, but you have the other brothers that have been in the game. They've seen both sides of the spectrum and they're able to differentiate what's real, what's fake, what's reality, what's fact, and what's fiction. There's too many false prophets out here on Facebook, on YouTube, really selling you dudes dreams. At the end of the day, they're not being real with you because it's not beneficial for them to be real with you. You got dudes out here that are charging people to be tour guides in different countries for 4 or 5 grand and promising them that they are going to be treated a certain way just because they have the American dollar. It's really not working that way. And then when you get to these places, you get into a situation where, or a rude awakening where you realize, oh shit, this is some pay for play type shit. And they're not telling you that. And then when you get back from the States, you don't want to expose that because you're going to look like a lame, but you didn't spend all your money to come out to these certain places, vacation for a week. And you're like, whatever happened, happened, and I'm going to keep it to myself. That's it. It's a disservice to, it's a disservice to a lot of dudes out here. And they're taking advantage of that. A lot of dudes are not up to game. I'm not saying I'm an ultimate Mac or King Mac, this, that, and the third, but you have to do a personal observation of how the world works. If the United States was a country where women did not work, and there was no child support, you would have more submissive females because cash is king. In all of these other countries, cash is king. And there's no jobs a lot of times, there's no infrastructure a lot of times. So when you got a guy that comes from another country and his American dollar is strong, yes, people are going to be submissive. Yes, people are going to put up with your shit. Yes, people are going to bite the bullet and act like they like you. Look at 90 Day Fiance. This shit is on TV every Sunday. It's the same old dog and pony show. Act like they like you, act like they feeling you. When they come to the States and they realize you broke, they a whole different person. What you have, instead of, you know what, instead of promoting this matrix mindset on a one-sided basis, how about educate people on the way of the world and let people realize when it comes to women, women are creatures of support. They need to be stable. Women will always put themselves in a stable situation. If you have a stable woman, you might have a loyal woman, but their main objective is to be stable, to make sure that they are protected, they are covered, they are taken care of, whether it's long term and staying with a man or it's short term, just like Janet Jackson did with the Muslim dude she married. She was supposed to get a whole bunch of money if she stayed in the marriage for a certain amount of time. And when that amount of time came up, what did she do? She secured a bag. You have to do the math. A lot of these dudes out here since Charles Tyler has died, and a lot of dudes that follows Charles Tyler and, you know, agreed with a lot of things that he was promoting, really don't understand the way the world works, really don't go outside of the box and look, at the end of the day, it's good women all over the place, all over this world. And it's bad women all over the world. You got dudes that are, like I said, they're monetizing what Charles Tyler created or he got off of a documentary and, you know, kind of coined the phrase and basically making every African American woman in the United States putting a bad name on them. My thing is this: you got dudes going wherever they going. A lot of dudes ain't going back to the motherland and dealing with these women because you know why? The reality of it is you're not going to get what you're going to get where you going to Brazil or DR or Panama, this, that, and the third. That's the reality of it is. And at the end of the day, men like what they like, and that's all right. But let's be honest. You got dudes out here getting fooled like, oh, if I go to a different country, these girls are just going to greet me at the airport and take care of me just because I'm American. It don't work like that. All of these countries that dudes go to, there's no lack of men. There's only a lack of financial stability for them in order to be taken care of. And at the end of the day, this has to be discussed because, like I said, it's a lot of good brothers out here that, number one, have been scorned in the States and have been taken advantage of. And they haven't learned their lesson. But they're getting told that the upgrade is to go somewhere else where you'll be treated like this, that, and the third. But they never tell you about the trade off. Like, yeah, you got to have some coin. When you deal with these people in these countries, it's just like in the United States. You are not just marrying the woman. You're marrying the woman, her mother, her brother. You got to take care of the family. And they expect that. And then when this happens, you get thrown off guard. And these women are out there to secure their future. And if that means taking care of the mother-in-law and the uncle and the brother that's really the husband, that's what they gonna do, man. They playing the long game. It's chess, not checkers. And you got a lot of false prophets out here that are spewing this information and making it seem like boom, boom, boom. Just because you got a passport and you're American, you don't got to deal with certain things. It's time for brothers to take a. It's time for brothers to take inventory of themselves. Like I said earlier, if you's a square in the States, you're gonna be a square everywhere in the world. It's time for brothers to work on their physical fitness. It's time for brothers to work on their personal appearance, their finance, discipline themselves, learn how to say no, learn how to be rejected. A lot of dudes take rejection and let that shit consume you like a cancer, and all of a sudden, every woman is evil. It don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? You have to put yourself in a position where, you know what I'm saying, if you're approaching someone and they're not digging you, you know what? Take it with a grain of salt and life goes on. It's just like with business. If somebody's trying to sell you something and or you're trying to sell somebody something and they're like, I don't want it, don't take it personal. You just keep going. You have to keep going. But like I said, it's good women all over the place. You just have to look for them. You know what I'm saying? If you seeing these girls online and they're twerking and they fighting and this, that, and the third, you must understand that you can't go in these situations and you can't go in these environments thinking that you're going to get a quality woman that you want to be your wife. But like I said, they got this. It's this new, it's this new propaganda that, oh, the Matrix, all black women in the Matrix or in America are not bad, because 9 times out of 10 you wouldn't want nobody to talk about your daughter or your mother or your sister that way. But these are the women that you go online and disrespect and always got something bad to say about. It's just like with black men. You don't want to be labeled as a negative thing by the masses, and certain things just don't pertain to you. You can't pigeonhole everyone into one criteria. There's good people everywhere. If you have a certain preference on what you want, that's all good. But this matrix mentality of dissing black women is counterproductive on both sides. Yeah, you have women that critique or criticize men that go outside of the black race to find women, and you have women that do it and get the opposite of how they talk about black men when black men do it. And that's all good. You just have to focus on yourself and literally ignore the haters. If you start to ignore the haters and focus on what you want, that will bring you the happiness that you want. But just looking at a black woman and saying, oh, she ain't shit, she's a matrix chick, this, that, and the third. You got matrix women in different countries that'll get you for everything and play the long game. There's dudes that have, look, it's funny because these guys that are on the internet and on Facebook groups and YouTube, this, that, and the third, they always talk about the good. They never tell you about the bad, because a lot of these dudes are trying to monetize what Charles Tyler started and what other dudes have started and put online for their personal benefit. And like they say, the proof is in the pudding. All of these dudes, a lot of these dudes are transient. They're coming back and forth. They're really not looking for a wife. They're looking to have fun, and that's okay. That's all right. If you go to sell something, this is my personal thing. It's like a business transaction in marketing. If you go to sell something, be honest about your salesmanship and don't be sneaky about it. Don't be sideways about it. If you go, give them the. If you go to sell a car, say, yeah, this is a nice car on the outside, but the engine's messed up. You might have to get the engine fixed. Nobody wants to buy something that looks good on the outside, and then when you take it home, you got a whole bunch of internal problems. Once again, my name is D-Rel. This is Rel's Rants. I hope y'all enjoy the content. If you can, like, subscribe. This is going to be on YouTube and the podcast, and I got other channels. Just give your support, give a share, give a like, give a comment. I'll comment back. If you got something you don't agree with, let's have a conversation with about it in the comment section. Again, my name is D-Rel. Peace.